welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I make lifestyle content. I am over in my comfy beanbag chair today and it is a day 2 video, but instead of sharing something that I'm doing creative, I thought that I would share a tutorial. So today I'm going to show you the 3 ways that I usually make my text overlays for my YouTube videos. If that is something that interests you, please stick around and I will show you how I do that. When you're creating text overlays for videos, you're always going to want to export as a PNG. I actually explain that in my screen recording that I'm going to share right now. Okay, so one of the first ways that I create text overlays is, and this is the most common way that I create my text overlays, and it's the simplest, the quickest. I'm using Adobe Illustrator 2024. I have the Adobe Creative Cloud and I open that up. I've actually already gotten started on these, so I'm going to be backtracking a little bit just to show you how I created these overlays for my Junk Journal with Me video. Basically, I have these artboards, kind of just a template I made, and they all usually have like the thumbnail, a hello, welcome back, some sort of like transition screen that I will show you how I export because it is different than the text overlays. And then just like some random extra artboards that if I need to add in more, I can. This one, I have a transition screen here because I actually didn't film anything that was like, let's get started or let's get into it, or any kind of like signal that we were moving on from the intro. So I needed to make some sort of transition to make it make sense. And then I was just going to have some steps, which in this case, I really only have like 2 steps, which is gather junk and junk journal. So I guess I could put like step 2, get creative. This is not that serious, but you know, I thought it'd be nice to have. And then you see how that last one is kind of large. I always like mine overlays to try and stay the same size for each overlay if possible. So because this is going to be crop to fill when I pull it into iMovie, I just use the align tool, which is just up here in the upper right. And if it's not showing, you can go to your window and click on align. That tool will pop up and you can keep it in your sidebar to the right as well. But you can set this to be aligned to your artboard or aligned to the selection. So I usually set it to align to artboard, which means whatever I click, it will align within the bounds of this artboard. You select your text and you can go, this one will center it. So here, I'll show you. If it's like off way over here, and you can tell that this artboard is selected because it might be kind of hard to see, but the outline is highlighted and a little bit darker than the other artboards. So you can see if I click on this one, that one's now the selected artboard. Click on this one, that's the selected artboard. So then I select on my text, center, and center within the page. So you can see if you hover over these, it will give you an explanation of what it means. So this is the horizontal align center, vertical align center, so that'll get you right in the middle. Because this is live text and I can actually change it, honestly, it's not going to be perfectly centered, and I can show you how to fix that, but it does not matter that much in the scheme of making a YouTube video. But if you are really concerned with that, you can go up here to type create outlines. That will outline your text, and actually it went away because I'm in outline mode. So here, I'll just make it black and you can see. So that will outline your text. You can no longer change it. And watch, if I select the horizontal align center, it's going to move just slightly. Ready? See? Barely a difference. Watch this. Barely a difference. And these are things like it's a YouTube video. I'm not too concerned with that. So I'm not outlining my text and making sure that it's perfectly centered. I am just leaving the text live and centering it in that way. And I'm totally fine with that. It does not matter. Anyways, that is how I align my text within my artboard. This will be the overlay that goes in my intro, but it will also be the thumbnail. So I'll create my thumbnail with this piece right here. I don't need these last two artboards because I'm not doing anything else, so I can delete those. And then what I do is I come up here to File, and we go to Export, Export for Screens. And then we want all of them. And the way that we want to export these is a PNG. You could do PNG or PNG8. It's not going to matter on YouTube which one you choose. Just white PNG8 is fine. I have these all titled for another video. I'm just gonna do numbers because it doesn't really matter. I always delete these off my computer when I'm done with them anyways. And then I'm just gonna save them to my desktop. They'll probably go in this 1x folder, so export those. And then you can see we have our PNGs. They don't have a background, so you can easily overlay them. And this is the way that I usually do this. There's my JPEG that I exported previously, so that's why it's in, that's why it looks like that. But I will show you how I put these into the actual video. And I think my screenshots, yep, I've already started taking my screenshots for my thumbnail. So we have day 2 junk journal. I'll just drag that in here, drop it over top, and then drag it out to the end. And then do you see how it's like moving? I don't want that. We go to crop, crop to fill. Now sometimes if you hit crop fit, it just makes the background black. I honestly don't know why it does that, but for some reason it does, and crop to fill is going to be what fixes that for whatever reason. So there you go. First PNG is in the video. And then I just repeated that step for the rest of my PNGs. I ended up wanting to have a pink background, kind of like a really light pink overlay, just because the white text wasn't showing up on my kind of busy video with all the scrapbooking stuff. So I just re-exported some PNGs with a light pink background. To do that, I just turned the opacity way down, and yeah, that created that kind of pink overlay. Just one way that I add in my text overlays. Next, I will show you how I create my overlays in Procreate on my iPad. So yeah, let's get into that.
So I just do screen size, and it's not really going to matter. I'm just going to import the whole page, and then I will break it up when I get into Illustrator.
Hi, future editing Caitlin here. I just wanted to share that Procreate is an app. You can download it onto, I think it's just for iOS. I'm not 100% sure, but this isn't sponsored by them or anything. This is just an app that I've used for a really long time for illustration and typography and just different projects. It's great. It's a really awesome, very intuitive, easy to learn app. So I suggest going and watching maybe some tutorials on just like the basics before watching my tutorial, because I'm not really getting too deep in the weeds about like how to use this. If you already know a little bit, like a basic understanding of Procreate, then what I'm sharing is probably like very elementary. If you don't know what Procreate is, go look it up, watch a little basics video and download it, play around with it. It's super easy.
I use like a charcoal color for now, and I really like the 6B pencil.
And then I just go ahead and draw all of the different overlays that I need. Like I said, I'm using just like a charcoal color for now so that I can easily see what everything looks like. But later on in this, I will be doing a clipping mask. So you can create a clipping mask by adding a new layer and making sure that that's over top of the layer where your text is. Clicking on that and then selecting clipping mask, and then what you can do there is just pull whatever color you want your type to be. Just drag it from your palette to the page and it will clip all of the type in the new color. I just did like a light pink color. You'll also want to turn the background layer off before exporting your PNG, just so that you don't have to deal with that once it's in the computer. So I dragged that PNG into Illustrator. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start making clipping masks with the shape tool, covering. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to take our PNG that we imported, and we're just gonna Command C, Command F 4 times so that we have 5 total. That's how many clipping masks we're using. And we're just gonna select each one. So you have Shift, selecting 1 PNG page that you imported and your clipping mask, and you're gonna hit Command 7. And you're going to do that for each of them to create their own object, so that you have 5 separate pieces now that you can create an artboard and export for your video. And we're just exporting the PNGs the same way that we did previously. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to the iMovie that we have open, and I already have it all laid out, and just drag these in. Now you're going to notice that it's way too big for I mean, you could let it do that where it like scrolls across the screen, which that's an interesting effect. I don't know that I want it to do that, so crop to fill. And then we'll just drag that. Okay, and then we will go to picture in picture, which will allow you to scale the PNG within iMovie. We're gonna just drag that all the way to the end of the intro. I like a really long intro. I feel like you could probably just watch my vlog all within that first like 10 seconds. Okay, and then we're just gonna repeat that for the rest of the PNGs throughout the rest of the video. Okay, so that's pretty much it.
Okay, so next I'm going to show you how I hand draw text overlays and how I get those from paper to screen. So you're going to need paper, and you're going to need pen, marker, pencil, whatever you want. I'm going to be using this brush pen. It'll have more of like a painted brush look. So this is the stroke. If you can see that. Say, I don't know if I like this. Weekend in my life. This paper isn't very good. See how it's like soaking in? This paper's not good for this. Okay, well maybe I won't use the brush pen. Let's just use, I think this one will be a little bit more dried out, and I think it's gonna give me more of the texture that I was looking for. So let's try this again. Okay, so once you get your text kind of figured out, what you're gonna do next is, if you have a high quality scanner, you could actually scan this in, and that will probably be like your best quality you can get. I'm just gonna use my phone, take a picture of this, and transfer it to my computer.
I'm just gonna drag both those files into Illustrator. I'm going to show you exactly how, actually, I'm gonna crop them first. That's gonna make my life easier. Okay, so we have both of those in Illustrator, And this is going to be probably the quick and dirty way to do this. And you're just going to select your image, go up to image trace and say okay. And that's just going to trace it. It's going to make it vector, so it's going to turn it flat. You're not going to have any kind of like, if you were using a paper that didn't absorb all of the ink, you would have this like cool overlay effect from the watercolor pen. But I didn't get that because my paper really absorbed all that ink. And you can turn up the threshold a little bit if you feel like you're losing some of the smaller strokes. Then you're just going to hit expand. And we're going to do that the same for the other image. Trace and expand. Okay, so once that's done, I take the group selection tool and I just select any of, so not the white, select any of the black. There we go. You can tell that you've selected black because that will be the color that is here and here. Then you're going to go up to select, same, fill, and stroke. And you're going to hit Command C. And then you're going to take your selection arrow and you are just going to select everything and delete it. And then we're going to hit Command F. Now you only have the black layer. You can go in here and just kind of start deleting out any of these pieces that it picked up on that you don't need. Then you're just going to start selecting the text, Command Group to group all of your, so you're going to have some, see how this kind of got weird right here? It picked up some extra texture. But anything that goes together, you're just going to hit Command Group. Command G will group things together. And that's going to group it. And so see how the edge of all of these is jagged? That's not ideal. And what you do if you had a lot of time and if you cared, you could go take your pencil tool and you could just draw around it to smooth it out. Or you could grab your smooth tool and just kind of smooth everything out. I wonder if there is an AI hack here that you could use. I'm sure there is. Anyways, I'm just going to leave it jagged because I'm not that concerned about it. It's only going to show in the vlog for like 2 seconds. And I don't really want to spend the time on making everything perfect. And get them on their own little area so that you can create an artboard for them. I wrote day twice because I wasn't sure if I liked the first D. And then you're going to use that trick that I showed you previously where you're just going to center stuff. So we're going to go like this, select that, we're going to select that, and then we'll just use the align tool to get everything centered where we need it. We can scale stuff once it's on there. So that's that. We will save our file and we'll just call it like vector type garden video. And I'm just going to save it in my weekend at the nursery and plants. Create a new folder, pngs at the top again. So easy to find. So I'll save the AI file and then I can also save the PNG. So you're going to want to make all of these white for text overlays or any color that you want. I like white. I find that it pops the best on my videos. And then if you want to see it, you can hit Command Y and you'll get the outline mode and you'll be able to see everything. And we can go ahead and export all of these PNGs. So we go export for screens, we select all, and we will put them over here in PNGs. I'm actually going to create a new folder that says vector PNGs because we're also going to create rasterized PNGs here in just a second. Okay, so that is one way to do it, and you can see now I have all of my overlays, and they're looking good. I mean, that's kind of a fun, funky type. It's not like super legible, but I think it works. It's kind of fun to do just like artsy overlays. I don't think anybody is paying that close of attention to them anyways, and just like bring your own personality into it. So I think that's one advantage of doing it this way, is you're putting like your hand in it, and I think that's really neat. Now I will show you how I would do it in Photoshop, and then we can play around with the brightness and contrast. So we can make it a little brighter, bump up that contrast. We're gonna get a lot of good texture in this. Okay, we're gonna want to remove the background, and I know there's an AI way to do this, but what I'm gonna do is select color range, and this usually works. If I go shadows and go OK, and I hit Command J, that's gonna create a new layer with just the shadows. We have a lot of midtones in there, so we're gonna have to do another one with midtones, and that's gonna grab the rest of it. Command J again, and then we're just gonna turn off our bottom layer, and now we just have the type. I'm gonna go ahead and merge this down so that we just have the one layer that we're working with. And then I think, do you see how see-through that is? I think I want to just go ahead and make it a little bit darker. So there you go. We can make this a little bit darker. We're not losing the texture. We're not losing the different tones in the pen. And then we're going to want to go here and say color overlay. And I mean, you could do any color you want, but again, I'm just going to do white. Say OK. And then we're going to save this. Okay, so after you save your PSD file, you're also going to want to export this as a PNG. And what I did was I took the PNG and I took it back into Illustrator and just clipped out all of the overlays and then centered them in my artboards. I did this in a very roundabout way. There are so many ways to do this. I can't say that enough. Like, there are a million different ways to do one thing in Photoshop and in Illustrator. So this was just kind of the route that I took for this particular video. I really just prefer to use the previous example where I did the image trace, but again, like if you do it this way, you're going to preserve a lot of that texture from the pen, and the edges are going to be just a lot more crisp and true to the pen, whereas in the vector version, it's just a little bit more blobby. But like I said, I don't really mind that since it is just in a YouTube video and it's only going to be like on a clip for maybe like a second or 2 seconds. So I don't think that I would go this route for a YouTube video unless it was like I was being paid to do this for a client. I would want to preserve as much of the texture from the pen as possible and just make it look really nice. But just for my personal videos, I don't think that the time and effort is worth the outcome, because you can see that they look very similar, but again, this way you're going to preserve more realistic details. So, you know, either way works.
Okay, so that is how I make my text overlays.